Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Murfield talking to some of my favourite people and some of the country's biggest stars. And we got one for you today. Vicki Michelle is starring in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at the York Grand Opera House this Christmas from the 13th of December. I'm delighted to say she joins us on the phone now. How are you?
Fabulous as always, Alex. How are you?
Well, I'm delicious, but not as good as you. I remember talking to you probably 20 years ago on the road, I don't know, at the Swansea Grand or somewhere like that. I mean, you've been doing this your whole life. Can you remember not being famous or a star?
When you're out of work for a bit. Yeah, actually, I've been really, really lucky with my career, and I've kept in work sort of every year, which has been amazing. And I'm very blessed because there's so many people in our business that are out of work. But it's always that no one knows what's around the corner. You know, no one knows when it's going to happen. And this panto happened because I bumped into Chris Marino in the West End. And he went, "Are you doing that?" I went, "No." Did you want to do that? I went, "Yeah."
Wow. Who needs an audition when you can just be hanging around Soho on a Friday night?
Yeah.
And, of course, you're playing Snow White. I mean, this is obvious.
Of course, darling. No, the wicked queen.
And you're perfect for it. Is it fun being less fun than everyone else on the stage? Because your job is to bring that sort of comic brilliance to it and own the show, really, because you drive it and you are the heart of the show, even though Snow White gets to steal it.
I think that's really kind of you. And, you know, everyone works as a team. We've got some amazing people. We've got Martin Daniels and we've got Mark Little, Johnny Muir. We've got some fantastic people that are, you know, you can't do it, you know, no one person can, you know, be the best. But I do think that being the baddie is one of the best parts. And I enjoy it. And I think there's a fine dividing line, you know, like making the audience hate you, but sort of quite like you as well. Mm-hmm. They don't want to like you, but they sort of do, and it's just fun, and it's fun where the kids react to you. I think when I first did Buddy, I was thinking, oh my God, they're all booing. I mean, they boo when you come down for your curtain call. Yes. But now I absolutely love it.
And what's amazing, I was saying to Mark earlier, I'm up in Northumberland at the moment. So I was walking along the beach yesterday and there were little boys and girls making sandcastles. And it's the same with Panto. We still want nostalgia. It'll never get old. And we still love it. That's wonderful, especially in 2019 when you think that people would be over it.
Thank God for Panto. Thank God for kids and letting them have their imaginations and not sitting in front of the computer 24/7. You know, they come, they enjoy it, the parents enjoy it. I think sometimes it's the parents that could do with, you know, they're booing at the stage or cheering, and they get rid of all of the angst they've got, all of the lead up to Christmas, and have a really thoroughly good time. And it's such a joy seeing the kids' faces, believing the characters on stage. You know, and I think Panto is just one of the best things to do at Christmas. I always enjoy it, and God knows how many I've done, quite a lot.
You have, and you're always great at it, and you turn up and you give a show. A lot of people tend to phone it in because they get tired and bored, but you're old school, aren't you? You know that every show's your first and every show's your last.
I don't like that. Yeah, I give it 150-200%, because if the audience have paid to see you, then they deserve a good show, and that's, you know, that's why you're there, and why not? And, you know, loving every minute and wanting to give the performance. And it just, you know, and everyone in this show is going to be 200% because they're all brilliant actors. So I'm really going to enjoy this.
And then we look at you generally. I mean, I've said to you before, it's so wonderful that the 70s delivered us some legends and icons and stars that we're never going to fall out of love with. There's you and Pollard and people like that. It was an amazing...
I was with Pollard the other day.
Were you? Yeah, she's fabulous.
I love her.
She's brilliant, yeah. I mean, I just saw her the other week. She's going into a show on tour, Hot Flush. Yeah,
I just finished Hormonal Housewives.
Well, I was going to say there's similarities, aren't there? There was a naughtiness about the 70s that we love, and we've got such fondness for you. It was a great time, and no better decade for the sitcom.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And it's still, you know, it's on Dave, it's on Yesterday, Hello, and people are still watching it in their millions, and you're thinking, this is amazing, and the legacy goes on. And, you know, we sold to over 80 countries, so not just here. And, you know, I go abroad and people, you know, they recognise you, which is such a brilliant, and also it's a brilliant show to be in. It makes you laugh out loud. And I think that's the trouble. There are some good comedies out there, but you have to have the comedies that make you laugh out loud. And the writers were brilliant. Jeremy Lloyd and David Croft, just fantastic writers.
Yeah, they were geniuses. Again, though, I wonder whether it would be made today because we're so worried about offending. There was none of that, was there? Funny was funny back then.
I'm so bored with politically correct. I'm worried to talk to anyone. I think
true.
No one's going to talk to anyone, Alex, because they're all right for saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's political correctness and having fun. And I think that it was like David Cross said, because I was in LOLO and it was a send-off of the war, which was, difficult for the BBC to say, yeah, go ahead. But it worked. And he said, we send up everyone, Vicki. And he described us. He went, the Germans are kinky, the French are randy, and the English are stupid. And that's how he wrote for us.
Well, judging by what's going on in Parliament this week, they might not have been too wrong.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a strange old time, but the good thing is every Christmas we get to see Panto. Isn't Panto fabulous, though, that it laughs in the face of political correctness? It doesn't worry about all that nonsense. For just a month a year, we get to go back to better times.
Yeah, I think it's great. And it's the grandparents, the parents, the kids, and everyone's done it for years and years. And it's like a sort of something that you just want to do at Christmas. And it's just such a feel-good thing to be at and do and to perform for. So I'm just going to look forward. And York is beautiful. So I'm so looking forward to being here again. I've done a few plays here, but I don't think I've done Panto here. So this will be my first at the Grand.
And they've got that beautiful Christmas market, which is a bugger for parking. But other than that, you're going to have the best time ever. It's just gorgeous. Yeah, yes, you'll be spending that show fee before you've earned it.
Absolutely.
Vicki Michelle, one of my favourite people, star, legend and icon, will be at any time. You'll be appearing in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs from December 13th at the Grand Opera House in York this Christmas, and we can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure, Alex. Thank you for being fabulous.
Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you this morning. The stars of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at York's Grand Opera House is taking place this Christmas. And it features Mark Little. How you doing?
Great, thank you, Alex. How are you, sir?
Now, what are you? A dwarf or Snow White? Which one is it?
I play Bashful, the world's tallest dwarf.
Well, at least you're not dopey, that's the thing.
I'm the main henchman to the cruel, wicked queen in Snow White.
It's a great show, that, and over the last couple of years, they've really built it up and made it one of the most sort of seminal pantomimes in Britain. It must be a thrill to be part of something so credible.
Yeah, brilliant. I do enjoy a pantomime. I think it's a really important theatrical, cultural event every Christmas. And to be here at the Opera House, fantastic. So I have worked here a few times in my time as an artist, touring the country, and great to be back.
Is it fun being you now? I mean, we look at your CV, you're a proper actor who's done proper work. I suppose Neighbours was the thing that people loved you for, because twice a day for about 17 decades you're in our front rooms. But you've been acting all your life, haven't you?
Well, pretty well since I left high school, yeah. And I was only in Neighbours for 3 years. Just to clarify, you didn't have to cope with me for 17 years. I mean, I think you've coped with Neighbours for 20 million years, but I was only in it for 3 years, Joe Mangan, which is quite incredible, really. So a lot of people think I was in it for a long time, but Joe was just in that sort of period, that late 80s, early 90s period where Neighbours was at its peak. It was peak Neighbours, I think they call it. And I was there in the middle of it with dogs and kids and Jason.
I just saw him last week at the Palladium in Joseph, and it's amazing the impact a show like that could have. And it wasn't necessarily a given, because it could be a bit silly and a laughing stock, but as you say, it became so huge, so phenomenal. Everybody just loved everybody in it because it was positive, wasn't it? It was, at that time, it was sexy and it escaped us from sort of dull Britain, and it was fantastic timing.
It really was we look back at it almost with an innocence now, and we see what's going on nowadays in Trump's planet Earth. The late 80s was sort of the beginning of our loss of innocence, I suppose. And Neighbours was a part of that innocence. And a lot of people look back at that period of time with great fondness, because it seemed to be before it all started to go a bit pear-shaped. And
it was a great time. I didn't have a mortgage in those days, or worries, or a job, anything like that.
No, all of that. And Neighbours is remembered by people for that period of time, and people have a great fondness for that late 80s, early 90s. That's, Joe Mangle, he was a...
Let's talk about Panto, which is happening this Christmas. I mean, everybody loves it. They're doing a big run, and it's a big show. What are we going to get this year from Snow White? Because I know last year was a huge success.
Well, it's got everything out of Snow White. It's one of the good ones, I think. It's pantos go. Has all that magic, and it just an excuse for people to escape for a couple of hours from the madness that is outside. And it's got everything. I'm just meeting all the cast in that now today, and it looks like a fun bunch.
Is Vicki Michelle behaving herself, because she can be a bit naughty?
Great. Well, that suits me. Yeah, she is. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun.
And again, it's hard work. How do you gear up for it? Because going from November, when you sat in your chair watching This Morning and Loose Women, to doing 2 or 3 shows a day, I mean, it's tough, isn't it? It's a proper job.
It's true. It sure is. There's no rest for the wicked. And but there's no 3 show days, luckily. Right. That's when it does tend to get into the realms of a little bit absurd and a little bit difficult. 2 shows a day, that's the job. Fine. Yes, you just have to grit your teeth and do the job. It's a pretty magic time of the year. And as an artist, I think it's my job to give people that fun 2 hours across all the generations, from the 6-year-olds up to the 96-year-olds, so that we're all having a good time. That's my job. And I like that responsibility. And it seems more and more lately, we need that escape. We need that fun. We need to just tune out from the horrors of it all.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I had the same conversation with the cast this time last year. Nothing's really changed, does it? If nothing else, it's got even more depressing and confusing.
It's even a little bit harder, a little bit weirder.
Yeah.
And that's where Panto is a good microcosm of that. And we're able to mock and do its job. You know, it's a small P political, but it is a political thing. And as a baddie, I'm giving people the opportunity to get rid of all that angst and get all that booing that they might want to do in normal life, get it out of their system, especially with the kids, you know, to show them that if they dissent loud enough, they can win. Good can triumph over evil.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point.
All we can hope.
I'm just up here at the moment in Northumberland, and I was walking along the beach yesterday, and there were kids playing with sandcastles, and I thought to myself, nothing really changes. We might have technology, we might be obsessed with the internet, TV might be dying, but ultimately kids want to play with sandcastles and at Christmas go to a panto. It's lovely, that, in a way.
It really, really is really important, and the magic of panto is a sort of, what's the term? Analog theatre. You can't beat a bit of good old-fashioned theatre magic. And kids, you know, they can be on their device for, 4 hours a day, and it's nothing compared to that joy of that panto magic and scene changes and pyros and lighting. And there's an enchantment that humans really like that. And I think we'll go more and more back to that analog sort of thing. But yeah, it's really important for the kids to know that they can have more fun in the theatre, watching other. There's usually kids in the show who are dancing and running around and in cozies and stuff. That there's more fun in real life than there is in the virtual world.
I remember,
and that's really important.
I remember seeing it as a kid, and I just reviewed The Lion King a couple of weeks ago in the West End, and I thought to myself, I wish I could see it in my mind's eye 20 years ago for the first time again, because you never forget how it makes you feel when you're taken away and moved and enchanted by the theatre. It's a beautiful feeling, isn't it?
It really is. There's nothing matches it. Nothing matches it. I saw an interesting review of the new Lion King movie today that is like that's photorealism, and it looks almost real, and the magic gets lost a bit.
Right.
It doesn't have the same thing as what the theatre does. The theatre is really, really important, and pantos. A lot of our audience, my target audience is 6 years old. They're our future audiences in the theatre, so we've got to show them a good time so they come back.
Well, I can't wait to see it. Talking of never getting old, when you look at yourself now in clips on Neighbours, is it like looking at your grandson? It was a different time, wasn't it?
It was last century, mate. That was the 20th century. Yeah, it was a while ago now, at least 30 years now. And
I forget, were you killed off, or did you just get in a car and a taxi and bugger off to the airport or something?
He just went off to the eternal sort of honeymoon, the eternal honeymoon. I think he's gone and lived in the country. I don't know what he does.
Oh, so is there a chance you could ever come back, maybe one day?
Yeah, people do say that. I don't think they've got any money, and I don't think so. I think that Joe Mangel, I don't think he belongs in the new Australia. Australia's moved on. He's like such a dinosaur.
I feel like that every day, to be honest, Mark.
I do.
Hey, listen, it's great talking to you.
Joey studies, but he's just like a time capsule of times past, because yeah, he was like a bit of a pioneer, because Joe was a single dad and all that sort of stuff that is all sort of de rigueur now. Yeah, great times.
Great memories.
Really,
you can catch Mark Little in Panto this Christmas from December 13th at the Grand Opera House in York, one of the most beautiful theatres in Britain, and see Snow White. And really lovely talking to you again. Thank you so much for your time.
Great, thanks, Alex. No worries, mate.